Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to do Flawless foundation and make it last all night. So if you want to see how we did that, then please keep watching and don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave. Okay guys, let's get started. The first thing for flawless like base makeup in your foundation is good hydration. So I've already moisturized my face. So next I'm still just going to moisturize again. I'm going to use the Farsakli Rose Gold Elixir drops. A little bit of a trick. Next I usually go in with my Caudalie Radiance Serum. I've got a small little bottle here. A couple of drops here and there. And the plus about this is kind of like a 2-in-1. It's a moisturizer serum plus I use it like it's a primer because it's a little sticky, which is what you want. You want a good sticky primer that is going to make that foundation stick to it, you know. I like to make sure I get under my eyes with this really well because I really want my concealer to stick right there because I've got dark circles, and if you've got dark circles, that's a good trick. And what I like to do next is just let that sit for about a minute or so, let it really, the skin really absorb it, and so it's not just so tacky. Next I'm going to go in with my pore filling primer and just kind of pat that in. Around my nose because I've got a couple of larger pores around my nose area. And whatever's left I kind of go on my brow crease and wrinkles and on my forehead. And then I let that sit for about a minute too. This is how I achieve like my flawless foundation, all smooth, good coverage. Next is the foundation. I like to use full coverage foundation, but really any foundation that's got like a medium coverage, you can achieve this look. And I'll be using the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1. I'm in the shade Light Beige, so that's number 3 on their scale. And I like to go in with a couple of drops of this first, and then I just go in with my Tarte Shape Tape. I've got 2 different colors. It's the Light Medium Honey and Light Sand. And I mix those and go in with the foundation before I actually do my concealing part. So what I do is I go in with this Light Medium Honey, which has a little bit of a pink undertone, and I take that under my eyes. So instead of doing a color corrector for my dark circles, this is basically my color corrector, and it kind of saves me time too. So go in there with this. And I'll do the lighter one and just a few drops on top of what I've already put on there. And then what I use for my foundation, use the Morphe M439 brush. This foundation brush is everything. I love it. So I'll go in with this almost every single day. Make sure you take that to the ears and down the jawline. You don't want to be 2 different colors. Just a little bit more concealer up here. And I forgot the neck with my concealer because you want it to match perfectly. So we've got a good even coat of foundation and the hair. I will go in with concealer. So again, I'll just pick up this time a little bit of that like pinkish undertone, which is the Light Medium Honey in Tarte Shape Tape. And this is where I'll do just a couple of dots of that color, again in the dark circle area. You don't need a whole lot because you've already got that concealer underneath the foundation base. This is just for a little extra coverage. And I like to take it around my nose right here. And of course I always use the Cupid's bow, but right here is where I lose a lot of my concealer throughout the day. So I like to take it there, and it really does keep it in place if I'll add a little extra. And then I will take a wet beauty sponge, which this is the Morphe one that's got the curved edge, or I'm sorry, the flat edge. And I got this from Ulta. It was probably like $8.99, something like that. So if you don't have a beauty sponge or you don't want to splurge on a beauty blender, then this one is amazing and totally worth the buy. So would suggest this one. And make sure it's got a good amount of water in it, very damp. And the key with concealer is to not blend too much. You don't want to like blend it all away, because then your coverage of the concealer is kind of gone. So that's why this needs to be super damp. It won't pick up a lot of the concealer. Whatever's left from this eye, and I prime my eyelids with it. Next is to set everything. So you want to get any creasing that might have occurred out. Taking just this really fine tip and patting that out back and forth. And I'm taking my Morphe M438 and I'm going to get some translucent powder. I'm using the RCMA No Color Translucent Powder just for under the eyes. I have noticed that other drier powders kind of show off my wrinkles, and this one is really good. It doesn't really show my wrinkles very much. So a little bit more translucent powder. Then I'll grab another powder brush. This is the Morphe M437 brush. It's a small powder brush, and I'll go into the Kat Von D setting powder, and this is just the translucent. And what I'll do with this one is basically set everything else that I have concealed, and especially right here around my nose. Also, I have forehead wrinkles, so I like to set it. My smile lines, I always set those because they'll wrinkle up in the day if I don't. And if you're wanting that full coverage foundation all day long and you're going out for an event, you need to last a little longer, I like to pick up like just a puff, and I'll dip it into more dry setting powder, which would be the Kat Von D in this case, and really add a generous amount everywhere. Once I'm finished with the powdering all over, I'll grab my big Morphe E41 brush, and what I go into is the Rimmel Stay Matte Long Lasting Pressed Powder, and this is just like a lighter shade that kind of matches my overall skin color right now. And I'll just get a little bit on the brush and wipe away any excess amount of the setting powder. I've got my brows done. Next we're going to go into the contour. So I'm going to use Kat Von D Shade and Light palette to do that. First I do like a little bit of bronzer with it, and then I contour with the same shades and sculpt it out. So to do the bronzer I use the Morphe R2 brush, and you want to start off with like a light hand with a little bit of product and then add more as you need it. So first we'll do the contour, or I'm sorry, the bronzer. So I kind of still follow the contour lines for my bronzer, it's just a little bit more blown out. So I'll start from the top of my ear right here, and I'll follow this line diagonally to about right there. So that's where I start my bronzing and my contour. Key to all of this look is a light hand with everything. I always do below my chin and my jawline too. I always contour that, and it helps really to like minimize the size of like my double chin, or if you want to make your face look a little shorter, a little smaller. And if you've got a low cut shirt, you want to make sure that you do everything that you're going to do to your neck and your face to like the part that shows in your shirt. Okay, and then next what I do is start to sculpt out everything, and I just use, I really don't know the brand of this brush, but it's just a large fan brush that I use. Same thing, we go into both of these shades, a little bit goes a long way, and this is where you need to be the most light-handed. Whenever you go into your bronzy and contour shades, you need to get just a little amount. And see how quickly it like sculpted out, and I really didn't even have that much because I knocked a lot off. And of course, if you feel like you've added too much, you can go back in with the fluffy brush that you used for your all over face powder and diffuse that, which is what I usually like to do once I'm finished, but I'll just give you a little demonstration. we will go to the forehead, and I like to shrink my forehead as much as I can. So we'll go to the other side and do basically the same thing. And the more that you practice contouring and sculpting and things like that to your face, the more you'll find out like things that you want to add extra contour or more highlight to. And again, this right here will really help to sculpt out the jaw, hide any double chin, or make your face look a little smaller, like your chin area look a little smaller. This is one of my favorite parts to contour. And then usually when I'm doing like full glam, I'll go back into the top row of the Shade Light palette. Sorry if I'm blinding you. And what I'll do is grab this shade and this shade and mix them together, which is like the Banana E powder. And this one's more of like a peach undertone for dark circles. I like to mix that for that reason. So what I'll do is just go back into the under eye area where we concealed and tried to highlight. And we're just gonna brighten it back up. And I'll go back in with my large fluffy brush and I'll just diffuse that a little bit more. And really the key, guys, to a good contour and highlight is to make sure everything flows. So you make sure that your chiseled out jawline flows onto the forehead, even if you're not really sculpting out and making the forehead smaller like I did today. You just make sure you take either the bronze or your contour shade and flow into the forehead. And also you want to tie in the jawline and the chin and make sure it all flows together and you've got nice even color all the way through. Alright, next what I'm going to do is bake. So I'm just going to carve out my contour a little more, using this flat side of my Morphe sponge, and I'm going back in with the RCMA translucent powder. Carve that out. And this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and do my highlight. So I'm going to use the Ofra color wheel. This is the Beverly Hills color wheel, which is kind of smashed, but we're going to ignore that. Mix them just a little bit today. And I'm using the Morphe M510 brush, which is a super popular brush for highlight. Just going to dip in there a generous amount. Okay. Alright, so it's time to sweep away the rest of our powder. Our next step we're going to do is blush. You can use your favorite blush, whatever blush you want to use. I personally love the Beautycounter palette that I have. It's got these two blushes right here and you can tell they've been loved. So this darker shade, or this lighter shade, and this darker shade, it's more of like a mauve color. I like to mix those together. And I'm just using a Luxie 514 blush brush. Your apples of your cheeks show up even more, and that's where you'll start on the apples of the cheeks and swoosh it back towards the ear again. And of course, I always get my nose with my blush, and the forehead too, just a few little pops on the forehead. I like everything to flow again, and I like to see like a healthy blush. I just like blush, let's face it. Alright, so that is how I achieve my full coverage contour highlight. So I hope you all have enjoyed this. Our very last step to a flawless look and long lasting is to do our setting spray. So what I recommend if you're wanting full coverage and long lasting foundation all night is to get a good setting spray that is going to be like a Lock-It, a long lasting setting spray. So for me, that's the Urban Decay All Nighter. I first set it all with this. And this next part is super important. You want to either fan or use your beauty sponge to like pat that into the skin so it really gets all of that makeup, all the powders, and helps it to stay. Alright, and then you fan that until it is 100% dry. Then I go back on to the makeup with the MAC Fix Plus, and this is what gives me that dewy look. If you do want to look matte, skip the highlight everywhere and skip the MAC Fix Plus, and you're gonna have that matte look for a long time. There's just something about MAC Fix Plus that makes me so happy. It like brings me back to my first ever big girl purchase of high-end makeup. So once you've got everything set and dry, you can of course finish your makeup look out. So I hope this has helped you all. I will see you all next time. I'm going to finish off this look. So I hope you all enjoyed. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave. And if you have any suggestions or things like that you want me to try or you like to see, then I will try my best to collect all those and do a video for you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed and have a nice day.